My coverage of CES 2024 is brought to you by Cooler Master, Kioxia, Asus, and Gigabyte. I'm at Gigabyte here at CES 2024. They are a sponsor, so many thanks to Gigabyte for sponsoring my coverage. They have some really cool new stuff. Of course, new graphics cards, the RTX 4070 Super and RTX 4070 Ti Super. We also have some really cool new OLED monitors and some motherboards that I think you guys will like too. Let's check it out. Pedro is having a drink, and therefore I won't ask him to do any work. We're going to take a look at these graphics cards right here, starting with this one, which doesn't have a label. How mysterious. Why no label? It's because it was just revealed and officially launched this morning. This is the RX 7600 XT. There it is in all its glory, the RX 7600 XT. This is going to be a 16 gigabyte graphics card. 16 gigs on a graphics card that has an MSRP of $330 US. Now, granted, 330 bucks, that's not like cheap. That's not like entry-level graphics card or anything like that. But for a card that is going to have some pretty decent chops at gaming, since this should outperform the existing RX 7600 and probably just slightly less performance than the RX 7700 XT. But the point being, AMD was aiming to sort of give a little offering for people who are going to be doing some content creation, perhaps some AI work on their graphics card. And 16 gigs of VRAM is twice as much as 8 gigs, and there's a lot of applications, as well as some games that are going to benefit from that, especially if you're maybe upgrading from like 1080p gaming to 1440p gaming. Let me risk a little more light. There, that's a bit of a better view of this. Now, when it comes to these graphics cards that are launching, because both the new AMD card, this RX 7600 XT, and the new NVIDIA cards, which we have a couple of that we're going to show you in just a moment, they are sort of based on cards that are already out there. So this particular cooler design from Gigabyte with 3 fans. You got the Radeon logo there. We have a Gigabyte logo that does light up with RGB. We've got dual 8-pin power connectors over there. This cooler you've probably already seen before. It's also got a pass-through blower design there for the fins to help dissipate the heat on that side. But even though we've seen like a card that looks exactly like this before, we haven't seen an RX 7600 XT yet. These are going to be launching on January 24th, so keep an eye out for those. And keep an eye out for independent reviews on the cards when they launch too. The NVIDIA cards that were announced are definitely catering to a higher end market, people who have a bit more money to spend. But for people who are more, let's say, price sensitive and don't have quite as many dollars to spend, but who do still want to take advantage of some features of the modern GPUs with the Radeon 7000 series, as well as, of course, all that sweet VRAM on this card, I think there's going to be some interest in this one. Here are the new cards from NVIDIA, or at least 2 out of the 3. Since the RTX 4080 Super isn't launching until the end of this month, we don't have that one quite yet, but we do have the RTX 4070 Ti Super here. This is the gaming OC model, and we also have an Eagle variant of the RTX 4070 Super. So let's take a look at this one first. Once again, if you have ever seen a Gigabyte Eagle variant of like an RTX 4070, this card is going to look basically exactly the same. It has a gray plastic shroud. It has 3 fans to cool the GPU and the other elements underneath. It is still using that much maligned 12VH power connector, so make sure you plug that in all the way if you're going to purchase this card. And of course we have some RGB in the Gigabyte logo on the side and the requisite GeForce RTX branding as required by NVIDIA. This card being a little bit higher end, they do have a dual BIOS switch, so got an OC and silent option for that. And once again, we have a pass-through cooling section here with fins, which is a very effective way, cooling down the GPU and other components that are touched by that cooler. Video outs likewise remain the same, HDMI, DisplayPort. The 4070 Super is launching first. It's launching next week. So keep an eye out for the reviews when they go live. Let's next take a look at the 4070 Ti Super. This is the gaming OC 16G. I'm being very careful. I'm being very careful with these cards. I don't want to drop them. We're some of the first to see these here at this event, so I don't want to spoil it for anyone else. Other people might have to deal with like my fingerprints on them, I guess, a little bit, but I'm getting distracted. This is the gaming OC version of this card. Gaming OC in terms of the Gigabyte product stack is usually among the more affordable variants, but still does have a nice well-built CPU cooler with 3 fans for cooling. You can see the copper heat pipe array to help bring the heat out to the fins, and then yes, once again, the pass-through cooler for the fins there. And again, if you've seen Gigabyte's GeForce RTX 4080, this will be the exact same look as that card. The 4070 Ti Super also has 16 gigs of VRAM and not 12, so it is going to be maintaining the same PCB layout and everything that the RTX 4080 does. And we're told, we don't know quite yet because independent reviews aren't out, but we're told that the 4070 Ti Super should perform kind of in line, maybe roughly on par with the RTX 4080. So this being an $800 MSRP card. Yes, it's a little late. We would have loved if the 4080 originally launched for this price, but better late than never, I suppose. Let me know what you guys think of the pricing for the RTX 4070 Ti in the comments. Gigabyte has a display of white components out here, and for any of you who have tried to put together an all-white build before, finding the components that match well and that also aren't super expensive can be difficult. So I wanted to quickly highlight these three motherboards that Gigabyte has put on display. They're all from the Aorus lineup. Starting over on the left, we have the Z790 Aorus Pro X, and this is one of the first in their ice lineup. They call them ice, because you know white is like the color of ice sometimes, I suppose, if it's not clear. But this one was quite well received. Very full-featured motherboard in terms of expandability options and connectivity. And of course, you got a nice clean, I wouldn't say all white look, but mostly white with some black accents here and there. Granted, PC Master Race Pedro was pointing out hey, the top slot's all white where you install your graphics card and then you can't see it anymore. And then the lower slots are black. But that's okay, there's black components elsewhere on the board as well. I thought this one might be interesting for some folks. It is the B650 Aorus Elite X Ice. So they expanded this lineup for folks who are building on AMD's platforms. So this one's compatible with AM5 processors and maintains a lot of these same design elements. Not exactly the same, you can see they've sort of changed up the look of some of the heat sinks and some of the shrouds over the I/O as compared to the Z790 variant. Quick reality check for this board shows it's selling for $230 right now. It's been out for a couple months, and given that a lot of the AM5 motherboards can be $300, $400, $500 and up, it's great to have an option here that has both the aesthetic touches of the all-white build and the all-white PCB, as well as basically the set of features that you would need on a motherboard, including stuff like your USB 3.2 Gen 2 front panel header, decent amount of expandability here, as well as M.2 slots located beneath this heatsink here, as well as the upper heatsink here. You have a fixed I/O shield, built-in Wi-Fi, so not bad at all for $230 US. And then if you wanted to upgrade from there, we have the X670 Aorus Pro X over here. Located this one on Newegg, it's $330 right now, although it is currently out of stock, but we're expecting more of these to be available within the next few weeks. So if you're building a higher end AM5 build and you want to do some serious overclocking, we got digital twin 16+2+2 phase VRMs on this one, as well as some clean looking heat sinks, both up there for the VRM and the power delivery, as well as again for your M.2 expansions, a beefier one here for perhaps a PCIe 4.0 or 5.0 higher speed drive that requires more heat dissipation, as well as this easy release option down here that just pops right off, so you can install not 2 but 3 more M.2 slots beneath that. So that is the X670E Aorus Pro X, and these are 3 Ice series motherboards, all white, from Gigabyte. So check them out. And again, these are all currently available right now, so if you're building a new system and you want it all white, maybe consider these. Hey look, it's Terrence, Dub Poets. Follow him over on TikTok. We're gonna finish off with some monitors here because I have a few that I think you guys might be interested in, and maybe, I don't know, is this one going to be the more exciting one, or is that one, or maybe the ones down there? I want to start with this one because if you guys saw me recommend the Gigabyte M34 34-inch ultra-wide monitor, that one used an IPS panel, and they have now updated and upgraded it with this one here. This is the M034WQC2, and this is an OLED panel. And you might not be appreciating it fully because you're watching this that I've recorded on a camera and then it's being played back on whatever screen you're playing it back on. But I love OLED. I love the contrast ratio, the pure blacks that you can get. Like again, it's probably hard to tell, but there's barely any difference between the bezel here that's all black and the actual screen that's just behind that. But apart from upgrading to OLED, this one is going to maintain a lot of the same stats and specs from the very popular M34, 34-inch, 21:9, 3440 by 1440 display. 240 hertz refresh rate on this one with 0.03 millisecond gray-to-gray response time, 8-bit color with 99% DCI-P3 color gamut reproduction, and also a nice Gigabyte bonus feature that they've been doing with a lot of their monitors, which is an integrated KVM switch. It's also got a VESA wall mount, and the OLED panels that they're using, both this one and the other ones that we're going to show you in just a moment, are sourced from Samsung. We're expecting this to launch within the next month or two, so keep an eye out for it. We do not have a fixed price or date quite yet though. Next we have this one, a super ultra wide, extreme ultra wide, 5120 by 1440 DQHD, I guess, is what they call it. It's basically like two 27-inch monitors side by side here. two 27-inch 1440 monitors side by side. This is also an OLED panel, and it's a 144 Hz refresh rate, 10-bit color. This one should be launching at the end of this month, end of January, and it already has a price of $1,300, which is pricey, but again, it's OLED, it's at extreme ultra-wide aspect ratio, 32:9, and 49 inches wide. Includes the two DisplayPort 1.4s, two HDMI 2.1s. So if you're looking for a wraparound display that has also the benefits of OLED, check out the C049DQ. Next, we have the F032 U2P, which Joe is demonstrating with a little Starfield gameplay. This one's 32-inch 4K, 3840 by 2160, and it is also an OLED panel that's sourced from Samsung. 240 Hz refresh rate, 0.03 millisecond gray-to-gray response time, and again, 10-bit colors. So if you want something that's a crossover between gaming and production, this is probably going to be something that will fit the bill. Mini DisplayPort 2.1 in this one, UHBR20 support as well, and one full-size DisplayPort 2.12. This one also supports daisy chaining of multiple monitors. Isn't that nice? Again, great for production tasks or if you need multi-monitor support without stringing across a bunch of cables all over your workspace. This is officially an Aorus display, not just a Gigabyte display. They're very proud of the fact that it has DisplayPort 2.1 support. They've even paired it up with this Aorus build over here, which includes like a Radeon Pro W7900 graphics card. Joe is gaming on a professional graphics card, and he's playing games on it. Wow. Somehow it still works. Amazing. Great job, AMD. I'm going to squeeze back here so I can show you that there are RGB accents on the back of the monitor as well. I am probably not doing them very much justice, but I'm squeezing behind the table right now to get this shot because it's for you guys. I love you guys, and I want you to see the back of the monitor too. And the back of that one over there, which is the monitor that we are going to finish on. This is the F027Q3. This one's 27-inch 1440 QHD, and again, an OLED panel from Samsung. But hey, for any of you Twitch gamers out there, like Joe, I know Joe is very proud of his like FPS skills. 360 Hertz refresh rate on this one. Very, very high refresh rate, as well as OLED. What a glorious combination those two are together. Still has that 0.03 millisecond gray-to-gray response time, 10-bit color, 99% DCI-P3 coverage. Because this is a 1440 display, you do not need DisplayPort 2.1, even at 360 Hertz. And I wish I could tell you guys like prices and launch dates for these other two, but unfortunately the Super Ultra Wide is the only one that they had that down for. The other monitors we're expecting later in Q1, possibly beginning of Q2, and again, the prices are still forthcoming. This one though, for those of you who are interested in that 360 Hertz refresh rate, I'm told probably less than $1,000 for this one. Sound good? Are you interested? But guys, that's going to wrap it up for my coverage here at the Gigabyte Suite from CES 2024. Big thank you to Gigabyte for sponsoring my coverage this year, as well as Asus, Kioxia, and Cooler Master. I have lots more videos coming at you guys real soon. Check out the playlist if you want to see them all. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. Check out my store at pulsarware.net if you want to buy yourself some awesome merch, like the hoodies that we've been wearing, keeping us warm this week because it's really cold in Las Vegas. Thank you so much once again for watching. Thumbs up button on your way out. Subscribe if you're not already. We'll see you in the next video.